because you can't solve all the problems yourself. And as soon as we realize that if we're spending all this time on hiring great people,
Welcome to Behind the Frame, where we go beyond the LinkedIn bios and Instagram highlight reels to talk about what really happens when you're building something from scratch. I'm Jay Duffy, co-founder of Frame Wealth Partners, business owner, husband, dad, and guy who still wonders if winging it counts as a legitimate growth strategy. Spoiler, it does sometimes. Join me and my amazing co-hosts, Morgan Watson and Annette Quigley, as we sit down with someone who's built a business or is knee-deep in the messy middle of it. And we talk about the real stuff. The pivots, the late nights, the wins no one celebrated, and the lessons no one warned them about. So grab a coffee or something stronger. We're going behind the frame. All right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. Morgan, as we kick off, what are your weekend wins?
So, as you know, we just bought a new house. We've been moving in, and the only thing I said with moving in the house, I'm like, Mary Dawson, you can have whatever you want. I just want a 48-inch cooktop.
Okay.
And, sooner rather than later. You can do the rest of the house. I don't care. Oh, great. No problem. We'll get you. And my wife's an ex-kitchen designer. So we move in. All right, let's get the cooktop. Well, if we do that, we have to change the cabinets. We got to remodel the entire kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what happened to this is the only thing I wanted, and, we get this right away. Yeah. So my weekend win was, as a replacement for the kitchen right now, we got to do TV. And it's absurd. It's the size of a billboard.
So what's the size?
We got an 83-inch. It's I'll probably get motion sickness watching it, but it was a good fallback for, all right, if I can't have my kitchen, at least I can, go to the neighbor's house and still watch my TV.
Yep.
So that was the weekend win. How about with you?
One's a weekend win, one's more of a complaint that I think we've all faced as dads. So I'll share that with you as well, and I just kind of want to get your feedback. But number one, we're back in the wing column for Carroll Manor basketball.
Nice.
I'm an assistant coach to the great Pat Murphy out there, phenomenal head coach, legendary coach in the Carroll Manor system. And we got back in the wing column, and what I was most proud of is James, my son, secured a massive rebound at the end that kept them from winning.
Got his athleticism from his walk first small.
Yeah, it was a tight score, 18-16.
Oh, that's a big score.
It's a big score for their age.
That's a big score.
Now, the complaint or question I have for us dads here is one of the things that growing up that I think my dad always told me that he wished he could have done, but he couldn't because of work, was drive us to school.
Yep.
And so as I got into our career, and we had a family, I said, I want to be able to take my kids to school. I want to be in a career where I can have that flexibility. And fortunately, we've built a great business together, and I have that capability of doing that. And I love taking my kids to school because it gives me a moment with them that I don't ever have, and I get to I'm a motivational type person, so I try to fill their head with as much motivation as possible. We have sayings that we do before they get out of the car, all this stuff. But why is it so difficult to get out the gosh darn door? Why? It's always something, right? I've seen so many different iterations of why we cannot get out the damn door.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Did you face that?
So I told you with us, it was usually like clothes. Yeah. So the rule in our house is you get to choose what you wear the night before. The morning of, mom or dad will choose. So that's how we solve that problem. If it's going to church or school and Russell's like, well, I want to wear this. Where is it? Well, I'm not sure. Good. Here's what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So that's how we figured
it was crazy. Today was, because Mike, our guest today, and my kids, they all go to the same school, so they have the ability of going out in the snow, and two of my kids are in the car. The little one, the last one, Collins, is just frustrated. She can't find her shoes, and then Megan, my wife, brings down the second bag so she has snow pants to go out in the snow. She's like, those are not my right snow pants. I need the purple ones. And Megan's like, they don't fit you. You have to wear these. That was another 10, 15 minutes. And then we were late to school. So that
Yeah, oh, it resonates. Yeah, It's the same routine every morning.
Dad of 3 moms or 3 daughters, right?
3. Yep.
Yeah.
3 girls. I had.
That's awesome. Well, let's transition to our guest today. We're fortunate to have it on our show, Mike Naylor, co-founder of Direct Mortgage Loans. We've seen some tremendous growth in your industry, everything from leadership to scaling your business. Phenomenal mortgage company. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff today. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about the industry in general. But I just want to welcome Mike to our show.
Thank you.
Good to see you, man. So, Mike, let's get right into it. First off, do you have a weekend wins?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can
want
give you a
to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have
All right.
enough?
I love to travel, and also last year checked a big personal goal of buying a house in South Carolina. So my wife and I bought a house in Hilton Head last year, and we got to go there this weekend.
Wow.
And so my win was I always kind of like, I know I'm traveling, I know I'm happy. I catch that moment of like almost the kids are out of the house.
Yes.
When I see my kids walking in front of me with suitcases. I'm like,
Yeah.
how's that? We're on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm officially even, like I have some questions here, a ton of questions, and as I know a little bit more about your business, there's a lot of I want to call it in a nice way, jealousy that I'm really proud of your success, but now that you have a place in South Carolina, I'm even more
Just up the
jealous.
ante.
You just up the ante. I want to have that place in Charleston.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So, Mike, what led you to this point with direct mortgage loans? So how did you get here?
A car accident, believe it or not. And I feel like most people that end up in the mortgage business, there was an accident of some way, shape, or form that led them there. Mine was a car accident. I've been with my wife since I was 16. I came home from college that senior year in the winter. It was snowing like we're gonna experience here in a few days.
Yeah.
And I was driving my father-in-law's car to an interview at Fila here in Hunt Valley.
Oh yeah, it was right over here.
I had interviewed or tried to interview at Under Armour.
Okay.
This was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So Under Armour was like just under. There was no Armour yet.
There was no
Armour. I was in an office that was probably as big as this studio here, and I walked in. I sat in the lobby for 2 days trying to get an interview. I introduced myself to the lady in the front and said, "Hi, I don't have an interview scheduled. I couldn't find any job openings, but I'm here in case anybody's looking for somebody." I sat there for pretty much 16 hours over 2 days.
Oh my God.
Everyone knew. Kevin Plank walked by a few times. The lady, I'd go up. Everyone knows you're here. Yeah, everyone knows.
They just don't want to talk to you.
So after 2 days of that and getting to be somewhat buddies with the lady at the front, she said, "Hey, listen, I have your number. Message sent. Like you are determined.
Yeah.
We'll give you a call if something opens up." I also had an interview. I love sports and I was kind of good at sales. I sold knives when I was in throughout college.
Okay.
And Philo, I did get an interview with Philo.
Okay.
So to get to the car accident, I was driving to the interview, which I knew I was going to get. I'm like, I'm gonna nail this one. And instead, I got nailed by a car.
Oh my God.
Trying to get onto 83 from Bedonia Road. So not only did I get into a car accident, but I got into a car accident in my father-in-law's car. Didn't make the interview, and they didn't give me another one. So
My God.
that led me to the mortgage business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very indirect way.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty cool.
So when you started, were you with another firm? Did you always want to go out on your own originally? How did that kind of evolve?
I didn't even know what I was signing up for
Okay.
when I went to the company. So there was a lady that had worked with me at I sold Cutco knives during summer and did pretty well. Made enough money that he didn't have to work during the year, which was great. And met someone there. And when she knew that I wasn't going to get a job at Fila, she said, "Hey, you'd be really good in this mortgage business. But why don't you come here?" And I didn't know what a mortgage was. I didn't know anything.
Sure.
And so I show up and I interview and I have like a J.C. Penney suit on, like a I don't know, some crappy tie, and and they go, "Oh, you're going to be a junior associate." I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds fancy. I'll take it." Great. So I show up and they hand me a phone book and a headset and they're like, all right, start calling people and ask them if they want to refinance. I'm like, oh, telemarketer. Yes, which is no disrespect to telemarketers. It's a hell of a way to learn any businesses. I would agree. And I highly recommend if you're getting into sales, just start there. But so no, I didn't know really what it was at all. And it was also like it was a call center. So
Right.
you go in and essentially like if you weren't successful within your first couple weeks, there was a button that they pressed and you fell through a trap door and hit a tigers or something like that. And they told me you're going to be doing this for 6 months. And I sat down on my first day.
Do you have a quota that you had to hit?
I'm sure that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure that I did. Otherwise, it was tigers. And I sat down on my first day and looked to my left, and there was a guy sitting there, and it was his 7th day. And this is my first job out of college, and I got, again, probably the same suit and tie on.
Yeah.
And introduced myself, and we immediately hated each other. And we went on like that for a week, competing. I'm very competitive. If we were flipping a coin, I would be, aggressively trying to win. And he was the same way. And after about a week of that, maybe we grew a little bit of a respect for the competition.
Yeah.
And the next week we went to lunch, and by the 3rd week we were really close friends. And 3 years later we were business partners. So.
Oh, wow.
Which leads to the next question, which is what, again, because we're business partners in the work that we do. We have our reasons on why we partnered. You don't see many partnerships work out. From our experience, what made it work out for you guys? Why did you partner?
I don't know. It's a good question. I was 25 at the time, so I was young enough and dumb enough to start a mortgage company, which, at the time, I think my parents would have rather me be a drug dealer than in the mortgage business in 2007, but it was what I was in. I had good success over the first 3 years, and my partner and I had taken a business plan to the CEO. We were in charge of sales at that point, which was interesting in and of itself. I'd never managed really anyone before. I was 25 years old, and there was 100 salespeople, all of which were definitely older than me, all of which were like, we're not listening to words.
That's really tough.
So starting from a place of how can I help them succeed first, because I'm not going to be successful unless they're getting wins. We put together a business plan that steered away from the craziness in the mortgage industry, provided better products for the clients, provided better pay for talented salespeople so they'd stay out around because there was a lot of moving around. Got away from ugly subprime loans, and the company I was at didn't really do many of those, but like the business plan was really on more stable, good loans that weren't arms that people weren't going to end up foreclosure and stuff like that. And the lady that owned the company, who was really talented, really bright, humongous big thinker, certainly learned a lot from her, was like, we can't do that because we're not going to make enough money on the thing. And,
Right.
I think a lot of lessons that I've learned over the years were what not to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And just keeping your eyes open, paying attention. And so we kind of looked at each other at that point and said, did we just write a business plan? And we, did next few weeks, we said, all right, who's coming with me? Wire moment, and we were on the way. Yeah.
We're going to lead, and we're leading ourselves. So that first year or two, what were some of kind of the expectations you had growing that business and the realities that hit? Whereas I thought it was this, and I found out it was that.
I think the first one that we realized quickly, we were in a little, probably 1,500 square foot place in, like off of Greenside. And I don't know how big your audience is. Maybe they're not familiar with the intricacies of Baltimore County. We were like in basically a basement of a dentist office.
Okay.
And we had one bathroom, and we had 20 people in there. So the first expectation was we need to grow quick because the one bathroom situation is not going to cut it. So I don't know that I had any expectations. I think it was like we had our blinders on. My partner and I were originating, like we were still working kind of in the business. We had other salespeople too, and a couple ops people, and we were just trying to keep the lights on the next day. So the reality is, like, there really wasn't any expectations other than
Survive.
Yeah, survive. It was
Yep.
pure survival mode. And like, hopefully we can grind it out. I mean, I think there's a very, very high percentage of mortgage companies that do not survive 1 year, 2 years. I mean, starting a business is very difficult, and generally you're not going to survive. I think starting a mortgage business is one of those businesses that has even less of a chance. And probably had I known that at the time or taken a second to think about it, I would have been, that's really the right idea. But fortunately,
was awesome.
We always like to say ignorance is bliss, and I tend to be happy. Just that's
right.
just keep focused on the goal.
Yeah.
If you could go back, what would you do differently?
That's a good question. Well, I can think of one mistake that I know that I made that stuck with me was there was we were doubled up in every, there was like, it was the best office. I mean, honestly, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we were all 2 or 3 in an office, and we had a conference room with no conferences. And I mean, we were digging out, like cutting through drywall to make little offices in these, like in a server closet and stuff. And we got to the spot where we couldn't fit anyone else in. And there was 3 people that said, hey, we want to work, we want to come work there. And we picked 2 of 3. And unfortunately, the third guy that we said no to and should have said, it wasn't because he wasn't good. It was like, we just literally had, I should have worked out front, like piling as much talent in as we can and figuring it out.
Right.
But for some reason, I didn't give up my chair, or we didn't put people in the conference room, or maybe we had at that point. But I just think back to that. And then he went on to be successful, and one of the guys in the office went and worked with him, and they got a great partnership. And I just remember, like, man, you gotta, like, it wasn't, I don't think it was necessarily me being selfish or egotistical, but man, it's
tough when
everyone else first. It's just got to be everyone else first.
And that's a shift as a leader. When you start something and you're used to being the technician, or you're the one originating the loans, you're creating your own success, and then now you have to lead people. It isn't about you anymore. It's about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get where you're going if they don't get where they want to go. So
Well said.
yeah. Quick question also is, when was that first kind of major, this actually might work moment? Well, how long into it?
I'll let you know when we get there. I don't think that happens until you're done. It's like, I don't know. I'll tell you, there was a big moment from a confidence standpoint. We managed to do something that a lot of companies couldn't, which was we were 99% refinance. And again, for your audience, I don't know. There's kind of 2 loans on the residential side. There's a purchase loan when you're buying a house, and there's a refinance when you want a lower rate on the mortgage you already had. And the at the time, rates were low. The low-hanging fruit, you could send a mailer out, people would respond, and you could just field phone calls and refinance people kind of all day long. And there was a lot of companies that did that primarily. We were probably 99.99999% refinance at the time, unless one of us bought a house.
Right.
Then that was the one purchase loan we did. To get a purchase loan, it was much harder. It was a lot of business development, and it was more development, kind of like how you guys run your business, making relationships.
Working with realtors.
Exactly, yeah, and figuring that out and asking for referrals and who else do you know, and takes a lot of time. So that switch is very tough. So we managed to convert from 99.9% to 90% purchase over a 2 or 2.5 year period, which was a big shift. Yeah,
That's a huge shift.
And imagine, kind of what's happened with the interest rate market. If that shift hadn't happened, what would have that?
Well, that was the reason we did it. Of course, we'd be out of business, as with every other refi.
Is that probably one of the biggest things you've seen with competitors that have failed, is because they didn't make that shift?
It's definitely a reason why.
Yeah.
It's definitely a reason why. It's this business, the money comes and goes quickly. So, one of the things I learned early on as I watched people drive up in Ferraris and Hummers and buy monster houses, like because they had a good month, I was like, I'm young enough to know that probably isn't fiscally responsible here. Just shoot the middle, shoot the middle and see what happens. So I've seen certainly companies fail because of mismanagement and then losing focus on what's most important is the people. Stay connected to the people. So.
Yeah. When you look at how the business has grown, what do you think's tougher over this time? starting the business or actually scaling it?
Well, anybody can start a business, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is scaling it, and what I mean by that is probably growing that. And in my business, at least where we are, the commodity is good human beings.
Yeah.
And so the harder part is helping other people to see your vision and believe in you, that you're a good wagon or horse or cart to hitch onto.
Yeah.
So I'd say certainly scaling.
Yeah.
The bigger we've gotten, the harder it is to communicate inside of the company.
The culture, you gotta keep on preaching the culture and making sure that those that you do bring in embody the firm's core values, all that different stuff.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yeah, we've definitely messed that up. There was a time where we had a hot hand, we were growing. It was pretty easy for us to recruit people.
Yeah.
And my partner and I, Ashley, looked around and we're like, man, I don't really like there's a good chunk of people here that I don't like. Like, I'm not excited to see them every morning.
Yeah.
And, there was cancers and we were seeing good people develop bad habits or bad attitudes.
Yeah.
And we made some really hard decisions to take, like, not one or two, like 3 or 4 steps backwards,
Yeah.
retool with people. And it's probably one of the best decisions we've ever made. And
Yeah.
we raised that bar. We said, if we grow, we could be 5 times the size, very easy, very confident. We'd be 5 times the size we are right now if we didn't care about that.
But you didn't care about the culture.
But I want to love where I go every day.
Yeah.
I want to love the people that we spend time with. So we raised that bar high,
Yeah.
and we haven't compromised, because I feel like if you lower that bar a little bit for this one person, then the next person you lower a little bit, and all of a sudden we're back to that spot.
Yeah.
In 2011 or 12 or whatever it was, when I looked around, I was like, man, I wouldn't get a beer with any. And now it's like, I know everybody. Yeah, I know everybody's kids, and
Yeah.
we go on trips, and I genuinely enjoy traveling to see everybody. And
That's cool.
I feel sometimes more excited about them accomplishing their personal goals than
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
So
That's a big shift. Yeah.
We'll touch on some other parts of that, but I wanted to talk about, as you're growing, when you first start out, you're kind of a jack of all trades, right? You're doing it all. And as you get bigger and bigger, systems become really, really important. They're kind of the highway to that growth. What systems failed quickest as you were growing? Where did you see the trouble points?
It's a good question. The more people we had, the harder it was to stay as deep as we probably would like to from a relationship standpoint, and engaged. So that was one where we realized that we needed more good people to help lead the company. I would say maybe the most pointed answer I could give you on your question was, my partner and I felt like early on, really probably for a while, not even early on, like midpoint, no one can see our warts. No one can understand anything that's going wrong with the company. It has to be all sunshine and rainbows. The company's perfect. It's great here. Everything's great.
Yeah.
And like, a company really only is problems. Like, that is what a company is. It's just is people and problems.
Especially when you're a leader.
And the only reason that you have people is because you can't solve all the problems yourself. And as soon as we realize that if we're spending all this time on hiring great people and we're not allowing them to help us solve the problems, we're idiots.
Yeah.
So we made a monster shift. We created a really strong leadership team, and we were completely open book. This is everything.
Yeah.
And we found that it had the exact opposite effect as what we thought.
Yeah.
We thought people would be like, oh my God, I got to get out of here quick. And instead they were like, I can do that. Like, give me that. I got that.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, yes. And you're way better at it than me. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's the most pointed answer I gave you.
No, that's great.
With, as you started building DML, I guess my question is at what point did you go from kind of originating stuff where you're doing it to really being leader, and what does that shift look like? Because again, I think there's some responsibilities you can't scale, like you have to do this because you're the leader, and then there's some that you can delegate. What were some of the main ones? Because you're no longer originating personally, right?
No, yeah, no. Well, like cleaning the bathroom and plunging the toilets, I was really excited to get rid of that. Um, but when I was originating, I was trying to lead by example. And as I told you with the coin flip analogy, like whether it's flipping coins or playing golf or originating, I wanted to beat the crap out of everybody by a lot. And I think that helped. That helps. I don't know. I know that when I try to surround myself with great people. People who are better than me, and I know that that elevates me.
Absolutely.
And I tried to do that for other people. So that was the way I led when I was originating. At some point, we had too many originators to continue to originate, and instead of me doing it, was more about coaching and helping them grow and tackle challenges and convert more deals.
Right.
And then when we had more deals, we needed to build operations staff,
Processing.
Yep, and all that stuff. So and all of that, like I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to look at a P&L. I didn't know any of the back office stuff with it. So I had to learn all that stuff. And at the point when I knew that there was only so many hours in the day, I needed to move into that direction.
Totally get it.
So with you and your partner, Ashley, where are the strengths for individually and what are some of those duties y'all share together?
Well, I would say shared would be always the culture part. And culture isn't something you can say, in my opinion, we believe this or our culture is this. It's really how you act when nobody's looking or nobody's around, or how you treat people and lead by example. And so that we try to create an environment together where people really enjoy being a part of what we're doing as a corporate family. He's probably much nicer than I am. He's Uncle Ashley. People like going to him for sticky situations, and he's got a soft touch, and he's got a really big heart, and he's a great human that way.
Yeah, that's definitely your well, I'm the cream-filled cactus. So
He oversees the mortgage technology, which is a big part of our business and how our experience is for our clients and also for our teammates and employees. He oversees customer experience, and again that goes for our employees and internally. And then also oversees like our direct to consumer, how we're going out and getting clients that maybe isn't necessarily through an agent. And then I'm more on business development. I oversee our leadership team, finance and marketing, and recruiting kind of fall under me. So,
I think you have to as a partner. You got to figure out what are your superpowers. What do you enjoy doing? Because I certainly don't want to be doing something. If I'm doing something in our business where it's draining on me, I can get it done. I'm just going to take forever to do it. That's just not going to be effective. Where someone like Morgan could go and do it really, really well, and he enjoys doing it.
Yeah. Well, and it's you have a partner so that you don't have to be there 80 hours a week too. I mean, there's a time, there's a time management part that's awesome, and we want people to have a great life outside of DML, and so that's another part of our culture, which is like, if you're not happy inside of or outside of DML, you're not going to be happy inside, and that's going to all trickle down. And one more thing on the partners too is just another like mindset that we look at it is, he and I are partners on an operating agreement, but we really do look at our leadership team, our branch manager, salespeople, down to the janitor as our partners in this business. And my hat is run DML, and it's we'll take off a run DMC, but like that is kind of our battle cry, that we all run DML. We all have a responsibility, making this company great. We're coming off our best year ever. We cracked a decent number in our business, certainly a milestone number, which is $1 billion in mortgage originations, which is something that we've, had half an eye on probably since we started the company. And so it felt good to do it our way with people we love and with everybody running DMO.
Yeah, that's amazing. You talk about hiring talent. I always like asking the question, what are some maybe non-negotiable traits that you won't hire?
Yeah. Well, I think there's 3 traits. You could put all 3 traits. You could put all the traits into 3 buckets. It's knowledge, skills, and attitude. And I don't really care as much about knowledge or skills. They're definitely helpful.
Yeah.
But if you have a great attitude, the other two can be taught or learned, or you grow with experience. You could have all the knowledge and all the skills in the world, but if you have a bad attitude, you're never going to be successful, or certainly not going to realize the potential. So attitude to me is very, very, very important. And I think about attitude in this sense. It's like you could take a really shitty day and salvage it with a great attitude and really turn it around to something that's memorable. And like there's an opportunity in that. And then the same math works in the other way.
Yeah.
Like you could take a world-class day and ruin it with a shitty attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's interesting. As we grow as leaders within organizations, I think our understanding and our views on leadership change quite a bit.
Mhm.
So as you've kind of grown this business, what are some maybe leadership beliefs you had originally that now you're like, I wasn't on the mark?
Yeah. Well, good to go back to the question about like what systems failed. That's the first one is like I have to hide everything and I have to really shoulder everything is the better way of saying it. Like I have to wear every problem. People can't know that when it's really the opposite. I was so far off. And also I do think that any business leader or any manager really, like from Jeff Bezos to, Big Saudi, they're all going to learn the same thing, which is like, I can do it better myself, so I'm just going to do it. And the reality is, it's like, but in 3 months, what else could you be doing?
Correct.
If you teach somebody to do it better than you.
Yeah.
And so that is the one that was way off the mark for me in the beginning, I would say. I think we've always focused on people. It gets tough when there's a lot, and going back to just really checking in. How you doing? Like every call, it doesn't have to be an hour.
I feel like that gets overlooked so much nowadays in the corporate world. Just a leader kind of walking by and saying, hey, whether it's grabbing lunch or just, hey, how are things going, and checking in. I always used to say it when I was a regional director. I was like, hey, I'd ask one of the advisors, like, does anyone need like a checkup from the neck up?
That's a good way to say it.
Who's dealing with some issues that I need to know about?
Well, our branch managers or directors, ELT, everybody's pretty spread out. Most of our leadership team is here, but we have offices in Arizona and Texas and Florida and Indiana, kind of all over Ohio and a lot of Maryland. But the way that I do it is so archaic. Like there's definitely a better way of doing this. I have a whiteboard and I have pictures of everybody on my whiteboard so that I see them every day. Because it's not that I forget anyone because I don't.
But they're not top of mind.
Well, you get pulled into 50,000 things in one day, and it's like, oh man, I really wanted to talk to Colleen today.
Yeah.
And you're like, dang.
Yeah.
And so it just makes me remember.
That's cool. I like that. I like that. I don't think it's archaic. I think it's smart. I like it.
Definitely archaic. Maybe smart.
Well,
Both could be true.
let's move into our next segment. Hot or not. This is all gut reaction. No fence sitting. Just tell us hot or not. You can feel free to expand on why it's not or why it is hot. But first one, adjustable rate mortgages making a real comeback.
Hot.
Okay.
Only because rates have shown a little bit of movement, but are or have been a little bit stubborn compared to what people maybe thought
Or what they were used to.
towards the end of 2024. Certainly what they're used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, for somebody that was looking at a house 3 or 4 years ago and knew what the payment was, and then now that payment's $1,500 more or more because of rates, that can get them from point A to point B. If their outlook is that rates will come down will finally break loose and come down a little bit, I don't think we'll get to COVID levels, and that's not a bad option.
Yeah. Okay.
Recruiting experienced producers versus bringing on inexperienced and growing them up.
Well, I don't want to say, you told me no fence sitting. I would say both sides are hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if they have the right attitude and the experience is there, then that can be great. I mean, but the attitude has to be great. And then on the other side, somebody without experience with a great attitude, also hot. And I know that's fence sitting, but I go back to like, if they have experience and that's the only thing I have to grade on, then I'll take the person that doesn't have experience.
Right.
If
Okay.
attitude.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about non-producing sales leaders?
Hot. I think that if at some point some people age out of wanting to originate and the focus becomes on helping a different type of person. If you're originating,
Yeah.
you're helping a homeowner. And there's a lot that goes into
That's a-
that and
that's a
how
great
you
way of
get to the
looking at
lead.
Yeah.
But at some point you go, I have learned a good amount here and I have some things to share with other people who could benefit from that. And then that mentorship, which I think you mentioned is kind of
Yeah.
the goal of the podcast,
Total.
Yep.
is a very natural progression. So I love that.
Love it.
Temporary rate downs.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a good marketing, I mean, that's the real dirt. I mean, it's a good marketing tool.
Yeah.
I don't think people use them anywhere as much as you see them advertised.
Okay. More on the operations side, again, ever since COVID, we've shifted between remote work and not remote work. Your thoughts on remote work, hot or not?
Hot. I love it. I mean, you go back to scaling, like one of the things that we did was realize that there's a whole gigantic country out there of talented people.
Yeah.
Maryland's not a huge state.
No.
I think there's a lot of smart, talented people in Maryland. And I mean, you maybe even going back to system that you're talking about, Phil, I like to look at people. Like I like to see them every day. As a young leader, I like to know that they're in their desk working. And unless I could get those eyeballs
Yep.
on them, they could have been out skiing or something, which I want them to do that too, but
Right.
not at 2:00 on a Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when we realize that there are great people that are trustworthy, that will do what they say, that are self-accountable,
Yeah.
that might be in New York or Washington State,
Yep.
that gave us a whole
New
new,
view.
just a way bigger runway. And fortunately, we started doing that in like 18, 19. And so we were pretty far down the line of,
By the time.
well, I mean, we didn't know we were prepared. It was a lucky timing, but we were a pretty well remote by that point. Now, for me, I can't go near sitting at home trying to work from home. That won't work for me. But there's a lot of people but certainly on the operation side that love it, and I love it for them, and they're great, and they crush it.
Yeah. That's
Hot.
awesome. All right, cool.
So along those lines, treating everyone the same or treating them fairly?
Fairly.
Fairly.
Yeah, fairly. I think you get what you deserve.
Yeah.
Is the best way to put it. I don't think you can treat everyone fairly. I think that people resent that if you're busting your ass, grinding and experiencing great success, versus somebody that isn't living up to their potential or is maybe having a bad run of days from an attitude standpoint, and we're treating everybody the same.
Yeah.
That's not fair. And but I do think treating people great and treating people fair can be very much.
Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of tech, AI, impacting, hot or not in the mortgage industry.
Hot. Yeah, definitely a hot button.
Okay.
For different reasons.
I was going to ask. Follow-up, yeah.
I think that our business is still very much a people business. It's just a matter of when people come into the business. And I also think the age, the transaction is probably a better way of saying it. This is a transaction that I do believe generally needs a human being. And it's just depending from age brackets when different sectors of the consumer population want a human being in there.
I agree.
But this is your biggest transaction. This is your biggest asset that most people are ever going to have. It's the biggest decision I mean, I mean,
To leave that up.
you guys have
yeah.
bought houses and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you sweat over every little detail. And at that point, like,
Yeah.
you could ask ChatGPT how much snow we're going to get. You're going to get 3 different answers. Not to say like they can't get better over time, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a good human being
That's human.
would be,
I agree.
is definitely needed.
So you mentioned this earlier, and within our organization, we have a big focus on what we call radical transparency. That there are no secrets.
Mhm.
So from a corporate level, in the size of your organization, that transparency, hot, not hot, only in certain areas.
It's the biggest word in our values. If you go into our office, we have our mission, vision, and values on poster boards in every office we have, and the biggest word in the center of the document, or the center of the poster, is transparency. And it comes from a spot where when we started, we left the company that we were telemarketers at. We started DML, direct mortgage loans, but we did it as basically a franchise of another mortgage company for a few years. Because go back to, I don't know, I know how to sell a mortgage. Other than that, I don't know how to process, underwrite, close it. I don't know how to secondary market. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know anything. And this was a great spot in between for us. And we told them in the very beginning, look, we're coming to McDonald's. We want to learn the fast food industry.
Yeah.
Because then we're going to start Burger King.
Right.
It's going to be great. We're going to be a great office for you guys. We're going to be your biggest office.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to win, but we need knowledge. And that's why we're here. And so we fully launched DML as a mortgage bank in 2011. I'll pause. Tell me your question one more time.
Yeah.
So radical transparency.
Okay, got it. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
So one of the things we experienced in that gap of time was a lack of transparency, and that was more like a time, maybe a sign of the times in the industry. So it wasn't anything they were really doing wrong, but we felt like rates were going up, and our rates went way up, or rates were going down and our rates didn't move, or they're messing with margins or stuff like that. And if they would have just told us, I felt like we were big boys that we could have actually helped. So that experience of not having transparency has led us to be a completely open book. And if we're holding our bar high and if we're hiring great people, then we have to trust that they can handle all the information, which includes what we make on a deal, what their margins are, like why things have to move. And if there's any changes in that, we look at them as partners and we go to them and have a conversation.
Awesome. So hot or not, done. Let's move into our last segment, which I forewarned you on.
All right.
It's plead the fifth. And as we shared with you earlier, you get one plead the fifth. You don't know how many questions. It could be 2, it could be 10, but you only get one. Deal?
Got it.
First one. Biggest mistake that cost real money.
Well, I go back to the one where we didn't trust people to help us with our problems. I mean, that was the biggest mistake that I can remember. And I think about all the time that I could have spent on growing a great business as opposed to dealing with problems that other people who are more qualified to me than handle.
Yeah.
So the stuff that I was working on wasn't the stuff that we needed me to be working on.
Yeah.
Worst advice you ever followed.
It doesn't have to be professionally. Actually.
Well, it has to do with caring about people, I would say, and it is that like people will come and go, so you just need to care less about that, care more about the things, and
you realize that wasn't the case.
well, people do come and go, and it breaks my heart when they do go. I take it really tough because we put a lot into it, but that's not the business that I want. I don't want a collection of people that I don't care about or people that aren't aligned on the same goal or the same values.
I mean, if you're like me, I want a Michael Scott office. I want a family feel. Like,
Sure.
Yeah. We're going to everyone's wedding, that type of stuff.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
I went to 4 weddings this past year, and 2 of them were out-of-state weddings for DML employees.
Yeah. Most overrated leadership buzzword.
It's a good one. There's a lot of them in people's values and culture, but only because they say it like they can say what their culture is. And that's not it. The culture is what people feel and do when no one's looking.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's like we believe at, I can't, if you go to our website, I can't stand it when I see websites that say at ABC Mortgage, we believe. Like, don't tell me that. Let me see it and have it jump off the page to me. When I walk into your office, let me feel it. Don't tell me that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that culture, everybody tries to say, oh, we believe our culture. It's like, no.
I like it.
Toughest partner conversation.
Always getting tougher.
Yeah, well,
Always getting- yeah.
probably most of DML knows there was 4 partners at one point.
Oh, wow.
And for different reasons and just different visions on where things were going to go or where we wanted them to go, we had 2 very difficult conversations about parting ways. So that is by far
The toughest.
the toughest was saying, you know, we're having those conversations, and then,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't easy. I wasn't old enough or mature enough to have them to begin with, and so, you know, the me today could have done a better job with them. I mean, it wasn't horrible or anything, but like but you know, it definitely the hardest were those 2. Yeah.
What actually keeps Mike Naylor up at night? Or have you learned to kind of control the uncontrollables?
No. Well, I think about challenges that people on the team had that day.
Yeah.
How I can help them solve them. I think about where I want to travel next. I
It
think
doesn't sound that stressful.
I think about my kids.
Yeah.
Well, like Megan. I mean, Megan obsesses over every detail with a thing, and I have a similar trait.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I like every moment to be an experience.
Yeah. I feel like I'm talking to Megan. I mean, for how many times we've gone to Disney and everything is planned out. It's
I told her she's starting to catch the upper limits of what's potentially acceptable. She's gonna have to start keeping some of those trips quiet.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I think about my kids and the life that I want them to have. Do you guys know about the rule of 982?
No.
So you got 982 weekends with your kids
Okay.
from when they're born to when they turn 18.
Oh, wow.
So if you think about it like that, it's like, is this what I want to be doing this weekend? And, you know, my wife thinks I'm crazy because it's like, where are we going? What are we doing? You know, like, because I don't want to sit still, because I can sit still when my youngest is in her sophomore year at college somewhere. And
That's so interesting. We, you and I were talking about that. I literally had this conversation 2 weeks ago. Our middle one is a freshman in college, and he was joking about while they were younger, like Aaron Dawson and I, we spend our weekends as a family. We didn't, maybe twice a year we'd go out with friends. I mean, it was always just them.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, you know, everyone else does all this stuff. Why? I go, well, Bud, we've got from when you were born to when you're 18 to make memories.
Mhm.
He's like, well, that's not really true. I go, all right, you've been at UVA for 6 months. How many times have I seen you in the last 6 months? He's like, well, you came out to 2 football games. I go, right. So in 6 months, I've seen you
Twice.
4 days.
Yeah.
From 0 to 18, I saw you every day.
Yeah.
So we've got time to do our stuff once you're gone. But we got from 0 to 18. Now I know it's 982 weekends
So
to make those memories.
Wow.
And so that's interesting. I literally had that exact conversation.
it gives you goosebumps. It's crazy.
It does. Well, I want to end there because that's a good way to finish it. You passed the test.
I didn't plead the fifth.
No, we can find a tougher question if you like, but no, I'm glad you didn't plead the fifth. But just some closing advice out there, Mike, and then obviously share a little bit about where people can find direct mortgage loans.
Okay, I'll give you two pieces of advice that I think about a lot. And one of them is from determination standpoint. And if you go to my office, there's a big poster of Sylvester Stallone, and it's from the most underrated Rocky. I think it's 6.
Yeah,
And he has his son outside of a restaurant, and
I have that thing in my.
it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And it's very sad, the whole thing. But what he says is not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And every day there's challenges. Every day life's gonna smack you in the face, and
Life doesn't care.
if you can, it does not. And if you can treat it with a good attitude and keep your cool, it is much easier to solve problems.
I agree.
And
Great advice.
and the second one that I'll give you is more about just leaning all the way in and committing. And it came from Jingle Bell Junction at St. James, where our
Okay.
kids go to school.
Yeah.
And it was just a throwaway little like live, laugh, love knick-knack that was sitting kind of in the corner.
Yeah.
And it said, if you're going to jingle, jingle all the way. Because nobody likes a half-assed jingler. And I don't know why that one stuck with me. It's just like, man, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you think about the guy that's singing Christmas carols outside the house. And, it's like, no, man, like, come
do it
on.
up, do it up.
Like, I want to see James being the conductor of a train.
Oh my God.
Chugga chugga woo woo.
Chugga woo woo. Yeah. That was the last play he was in. Oh man.
He was a legend. Yep.
Where can customers, clients find direct mortgage loans?
Yeah, directmortgageloans.com.
Yep.
You can stop by and see us in Hunt Valley, on McCormick Road.
There you go.
That's where our headquarters is. And directmortgageloans.com. Or if you're interested in changing industries, join DML.com.
Awesome. Awesome. That's all we have for episode 14. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, everybody.